I'm in a game. Hello, I'm in a game. Hello, I'm in the video with my daddy.
All right, everybody. So I don't have the green screen up, mostly because it's big game for Oregon this week, and I will have no chest in the video because it's a green shirt. So we're just gonna go with the background we got this week. So we got Joey's Hobby Shop from YouTube on this week. It's gonna be an interesting show. Mostly the chat's gonna be interactive. But here's Joey. What's going on, man? What the heck are you wearing? Boy.
Sometimes a man has to hide his beauty.
Well,
Did you hear?
you know, understandable sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
First, plug your YouTube channel and your Facebook page.
Plug them. What do you mean?
You know, like go over. You know, it is Joey's Hobby Shop, right? Is your YouTube channel name, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then the Facebook.
Oh, you mean? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is what?
Well, Facebook is just Facebook. I don't really use it for anything significant, but if anybody wanted to add me there, it's I believe that one is called JC Hobby Shop on Facebook. Excuse me. But as far as my Facebook, now that's where it all happens. And then it's Joey's Hobby Shop. Obviously, I post a lot of video and I do shorts and add stuff to the community page for pictures and things. And then Instagram is also Joey's Hobby Shop.
Okay.
So, yeah. And that's, well, and TikTok, if you count that, that's Joey's Hobby Shop as well.
No, that's awesome. How are you liking TikTok?
I like it just because of the funny stuff. I like the videos, the stupid skits people do. And then I send those to other people that would probably like them, or they block me if they don't like them. So,
I'm actually finding a lot more success on the modeling side of it on TikTok than I am YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird. Like like just a normal video I do will get about 60, 70 views. And if I take that 3-minute video and put it on TikTok, it just goes forever.
What is your name on there?
I'll look here in a second.
Okay, because I think I might be following you. I don't know, because there's a lot of modelers that that followed me, and I turned around and followed them back that I know from YouTube. So
no, I mean it's just interesting how like a 3-minute video just takes off over there. And
yeah,
I've been trying to do a lot more of that on YouTube, but YouTube, I think like view wise for us, there's just so many channels now. It's hard to keep up with.
Yeah. All of them. And my only video on TikTok, it's not even model related. I think it's me riding a big wheel or something.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I can't remember what video I put up. What? Jeff Elliott says, who's he talking about? Set the hobby back to T-Rex time. Is he talking about you?
I don't know.
That's not very nice of him talking about the host.
I mean, come on.
I know.
It's Jeff.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing the hobby?
I recently just got back into doing modeling after, I don't know, 10, 12 years of not doing anything. And, uh, but all through, my teens, my 20s, I was always working on a model of some sort, but not to the degrees that I'm trying to do it now. Because I didn't think of all these things back then. As far as detailing and just really making it look like a real type vehicle. I didn't really get into that aspect of things until I'm going to guess it was 2013, 2012, 2013 when I did my first weathered model kit, which was the GMC C10 type pickup truck stepside that I pro streeted, and then I weathered it, and I called that, I named that kit, their build, the Bigfoot Barn Find. But there's nothing Bigfoot about it. It was just the ironicness of it to call it a Bigfoot and then a barn find. It really seriously looks like it came out of a barn or out of a field or whatever, but it's pro streeted. And anyway, that kind of set the wheels in motion. And when I decided I was going to come back this time and get into it, I'd told Cliff over at GI Scale Mechanics Garage that when I come back this time, I'm going to up my game and do airbrushing because I had never done that before, and a few other things. But I've learned a lot of neat tricks. Like recently, take a simple ink pencil with the rubber eraser and take that and lay some paint out on a piece of tape, put the tape down and put the paint on it, and then just dab the eraser into it, and it's perfect for doing the white lettering on your tires. And I learned this trick from Hobby Barn Senior and Bob Busey. And so I didn't have a pencil, and I said, Jeff, do you have any pencils in your arsenal you can send me? And so he sent me this pinkish purple one, and I thought, wow, that dude's gay, but hey, the eraser will work. The eraser will work. But it does say stay positive on it, so can give him that. But it's never been used. I'm afraid to do DNA on this thing to see what's on it, but no, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, too late for that. You've already touched it.
I know.
You might want to know after that.
Yeah.
Right.
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 But yeah, no, that was I'm pretty sure that was one of my granddaughter's pencils that she'd left here. So she won't.
Now see, now he's not trying to take credit for it.
Huh?
He said that's Jeff C he's talking about.
Oh. Yeah, I forgot we got more than one Jeff. I should have said Jeff Fall.
Right.
But anyway. But I want to go over this real quick with everybody in the chat. I know you guys have seen, some of you have seen the picture I posted in my community about a set of bucket seats that I 3D printed. And, well, you never know when you're going to forget to do something. And I forgot to scale these seats before I clicked print. And I walked away from the 3D printer, and an hour and a half later, I go back thinking, yeah, I got my seats. I can get them ready and get them put into the Z28 1/25th scale that I'm working on. Only to find out I had forgot to scale these. And so if anybody's looking for a set of bucket seats for their race car, I have a set that you might be able to get your big toe in it. But I have the matching set. Here's the other one.
For like the RC car. Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk about how we were talking before this, how you scaled those down. Because that's interesting how you accomplished that.
Let me show them this one, and then they can kind of have an idea what I'm about to say. So this is the bucket seat now that's scaled down and ready to go into the car. It's painted, and I'm just letting it set up good before I glue it in. But that's the bucket seat that I was achieving or trying to achieve. So how I did that is I went to Summit Racing and I found a set of the racing seats there that are very similar to these seats, and I got the measurements from the specs of that seat from Summit Racing's website, and I took those measurements over to the scale calculator, and I could set that up for 125th, 124th, or any scale I want it to be at. And obviously I wanted to go 125th. And so I set that calculator to 125th and put the numbers in, and then click calculator or whatever. And then it gives me all of the scaled down numbers from the actual size seat to 125th, and it gives it to me in millimeters. So then what I do with that, I get it all wrote down on my notepad. This is the numbers I used in the calculator, and took those numbers over to the software, which is called Chitubox, that you use for setting up your files for 3D print. And I put those numbers into the scale calculator on the Chitubox. And then that scaled that seat down to what I just showed you there, that little smaller one. So, but yeah, that's how I did it.
I mean, it works, right? They've dropped the spot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really with anything that you're wanting to make a miniature of, like, let's say a bucket, or not a bucket, but a barrel. Most people use them for burn barrels. And, you know, you have the file, but you don't know what size because you're building, let's say, a 1/24th scale diorama garage. But you don't know what size to make that bucket or barrel before you print it. Well, you find somebody that's got those barrels, if you don't have one, and you just measure the height, the width, the depth, whatever, take those numbers, punch them into the Chitubox with that file sitting there on the grid plate, and then you punch those numbers in, and that will give you the actual 1/24th sized barrel that it would 3D print, and then you paint it up however you want it to look and set it in your diorama. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting on how that software has gotten better.
Yeah.
Because you didn't used to be able to do that.
Right. And I was actually intimidated. Yeah, that was the other thing as far as upping my game when I come back, is I wanted to do 3D printing, but I was intimidated by it because I knew nothing about any of it. And I tell you, I have to tip my hat to Miguel for all the awesome help that he has given to me, and the education and teaching me and screaming and yelling at me to get me to where I am now with 3D printing. Because if it hadn't been for him, I would just be sitting there watching a 3D printer collect dust. So, yeah.
It does have a learning curve. It's kind of crazy at the end of the day, but
yeah,
it's a great tool. I mean,
yeah. And then Mopar Nut said there, you can also measure a kit part and resize it, and that's true. However, I tried that actually with the seats, using the seats out of the Z28 that came with the kit, and I printed them, and I'll show you what I got. It didn't work out. Let me find it here. So I used the method that he just said, but still it became too wrong. Look how tiny. That might fit in a matchbox. So it's really, for me, it's finding the actual sized part that I want and get the measurement that way. And there's so many places online now, like for my wrecker build, the cab lights that are going on the cab. Well, this kit that I'm using, the cab didn't come with cab lights. And I thought, well, crap, what am I going to do? So I got with Miguel. I said, hey, can you design those? And he said, yeah, if you get me the measurements. And I was like, oh, man. And then I thought, oh, ding, ding. I can get online and look for aftermarket cab lights, get the measurements from those, send that over to Miguel, and he went ahead and set it all up, sent me the file. I printed it. I actually sent a set of those same cab lights to 60s Rural Dan, and that last big rig semi truck that he did, he used those lights on that build, and they look great.
It looked really great.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd printed off 2 sets because you got to have 5 for your cab. So I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and just print 10 in case one comes out to be a bad print. I'll have an extra. And but all 10 of them came out good. So I thought, well, now I got 2 sets. So when he was talking about that cab in one of his builds, I asked him in the comments, I said, are you planning on doing cab lights? He said, yeah, I thought about it, and I haven't looked through my stash to see if I got any. I said, well, don't worry about looking. I'm going to mail you a set. And I sent him a set, and he couldn't believe how detailed those things looked. They just look really nice.
No, and that's the one thing I do like about Miguel. He takes a lot of time to make sure they're right. They're not just a square with a smaller square in the back with a wire coming out the back side of it,
Yeah. It's like this. Yeah. For example, if you bring that on the big screen, you're not going to be able to see it, I don't think. But if you look to the right of this wheel, you see that little stem sticking up?
Yep.
That is your valve stem.
Yep.
And that's the SS Krager wheel. It's got the lug nuts, everything. Beautiful lug nuts, everything. And that's a file that Miguel created. And all I did was put it in the machine and 3D printed it.
Well, and that's why I think Miguel's getting really, really popular because he helps you with the quality.
Right.
Sometimes he'll print stuff out for you, but he really doesn't want to. He wants you to do it.
Yeah.
And I think he's really computer savvy.
Oh yeah.
And he's able to make some of those stuff works. I don't agree with some of the stuff he tells people, but he gets it all to work. So it's
have you ever talked to him one-on-one and asked him what his education is?
No, not really.
Yeah, well, if you thought the Israel military was smart, Miguel could outdo him all day because he's just got such an education for this that it would be dumb of him to not do it, But yeah, he's very, very educated, very smart, and he's been to school for it, so that makes it even better.
No, it's crazy, and like the 3D printed side of the hobby now, like you can print just about anything for any application you want. It's it and on that software, as you create the file and then you splice it and save it, it will tell you how much resin you're using for this part and how much it costs. So for a set of these SS Krager wheels, $1.09 worth of resin is what I printed these for. Now I would not be able to walk into a hobby shop and buy that set of wheels for $1.09. So wait, is that the whole? Is that 4 on the bed plate or just one wheel?
That's for all 4 wheels. Actually, that's for all 4 wheels and all 4 tires.
See, that's not bad at all.
No, you can't even get them that cheap at a swap meet at one of the car shows, model car shows. You can't get them even that cheap.
Right.
So yeah, it's
probably about $25 for the wheels, and then you'd probably spend about $25 for the tires.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, really, in a nutshell, 3D printing is going to save you a whole lot of money when it comes to being able to afford other things for your hobby. And and then too, it doesn't always have to be about model cars, something that you want to print. I've got a file right now. I've already got it printed. I'm not going to show it to you on here because it's a surprise for a fellow modeler that torments the crap out of me. And I thought, well, I'm going to call a peace truce and send them a gift. And so I 3D printed this. I got to paint it still. There's only one other person knows what it is, and I'm not going to even say her name, but her initials is Marcy. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, there's so many different things you can do if you've ever wanted to get into doing statues or things of that nature. You know, you can 3D print that stuff right here in your own home or in your shop, and not have to worry about running out and finding it at a hobby shop. You might not find what you want at that hobby shop, and then you got to be creative and try to come up with your own. So,
well, and there's enough people making files now that you can find anything.
right. Yeah.
Anything. And I mean anything.
Yeah. Well, just like with the Iceman collections, that guy, I believe he's next level with Miguel when it comes to what he does. And for my wrecker bed, I wanted it to be an old school type wrecker bed. See, Miguel has a wrecker bed, but it's more modern. I wanted a different one. But so Iceman has that kit. So instead of printing it and getting the file and printing it, I just said, well, you go ahead and print it and I'll just pay you for it. But the detail on that thing is it's just amazing. You know how on these wreckers, 1-ton wrecker trucks, on the sides of the wrecker body, you got those doors that open, which is a toolbox. It's got all of that printed into the body of that. And it's just amazing. And then you can, 3D print more stuff that you want to use with that. Like for me, I printed some pipe wrenches and regular Spaniard hand wrenches and tools to throw on that bed once it's all together. And it's going to look good. Yeah.
So what are you currently working on?
I'm glad you asked. It's not together yet, but it's ready to go together. I'm waiting on one part to dry, which is the engine block. But this is a 1981 Z28 Camaro T-top that I've already got it all painted. This stuff is already all set up good, and I don't have the windows or dash in or the seats. Let me flip it this way. So basically the body is ready for the windows and ready to be put into the suspension and everything to be permanently put in it. I'm just waiting, like I said, on that engine block because, as I said, this came as a curbside where the engine and transmission was molded into that suspension floor pan. And so I had to cut that out to go with that big block. So I still have some mocking up to do for my transmission cross member to put that in. So I got to wait for the engine block to get finished so I can assemble that whole engine, set it in there, and make and fabricate that cross member, and then I can finally start gluing this whole bad boy together because everything else is ready to go. All the wheels are done. Everything's painted. I mean, I'm just waiting. That engine block, I checked it again today. It's still a little bit tacky. So and I sprayed that with a rattle can. So it seems to take longer to dry with rattle cans. Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the wait time that you have to do sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Because if I try to touch it, and then if I try to touch it, it's gonna just have fingerprints, armpit prints, and probably armpit hairs and everything else stuck to it. Because you were asking me earlier what tools I use. I forgot to mention my armpit's one of the biggest ones.
Right.
If you ever come around, don't feel free to pick up my kits. You might get some armpit juice on your fingernails.
Gross, man. Gross. Gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny, but gross.
Yeah. It is. But hey, what are you going to do? I can't call up my neighbor and say, hey, can I borrow your hand? I don't have one. So.
Well, you could.
Well, I could, but I'm going to get looked at weird. And
I
I don't.
like I said, but you still could.
Right. Yeah. Who? Well, anyway, hello to chat. I never did say hello to the chat.
Yeah, chat's been kind of hopping. So
Yeah, I haven't even been watching it.
right.
But there's Paul, Plastic Monkey.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him.
Well, wait. Why?
Poor Paul. He has to put up with Sue.
I mean, you could have the argument that she has to put up with him. Poor her.
No, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. You're just trying to get brownie points so you can be on her show.
I've already been on there.
Oh, never mind. So back to the tools that I use. One of my biggest friends when I'm trying to hold a part down to work on it is a big fat roll of blue painter's tape. This stuff has been my friend for not just modeling, but other projects as well. It's a must-have for anybody, really. And then everybody uses these. Great for holding parts when you're painting or whatever. This little, I mean, it can be used as roach clips too if you're a pothead like Jess from Scale Model Snail, which I think she uses them that way. And then I've got a whole bag of these little clamps from Harbor Freight. Great for holding model parts.
Clamps. They're
Then these little clamps, which everybody has these if they have one of those paint things that swirly goes around.
Yep. The Tamina one. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then I got another little smaller clamp, great for holding stuff. Channel locks, got to have those.
Okay. Wait. What are you using the channel locks for?
The channel locks are like if I have a big piece that I need to get a metal, like you know how some kits they'll come with wheels that have the metal rod that goes into the hub. So I can hold the wheel with this or one of these here, and I want to get that rod pushed in really well.
Oh,
channel
okay.
locks. I use channel locks. Yeah, so it works out. And then what else do I use? I mean, pretty much everything I use is stuff that everyone else uses. I'm not disabled. I'm differently abled, so I do it different. Like when I need to sand something and it's really tiny and small, most people would use two hands. They would hold it and then sand it, with a piece of sandpaper. I just use a full sheet. I lay it down flat and just go through sanding what I need to on that part, and it's ready to go.
Yeah, it's crazy how much helpful that is, especially when you 3D print parts.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as tools go, like tweezers, scribers, things like that, X-Acto knives. I use everything else everybody else uses, and this is my extra blades. They're different shaped blades for doing different things.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah. That's called Precision Craft Knife Kit, 16-piece. But I do plan to do some stuff here in the future this winter with the hobby foam, the blue hobby foam. I want to build some brick walls and different things out of that for like a backdrop for some of the stuff I'm building.
Wait, blue foam. What do you're not talking about like the insulation stuff, are you?
It's the same as that, pretty much. Yeah.
I was going to say that stuff's pretty expensive, isn't it?
No, not really. I don't know how much I got, but I've got like $22 in all of it. But I got quite a bit. And
That's cool.
Yeah. So the blue, it might have a little bit of different texture than the actual insulation blue.
Yeah.
But excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat. But one of the other tools that I use, since I 3D print my tires, I need some way to paint those on both sides, which would be hard to do with one hand. So I built a rack that goes in my paint booth out of just scrap and clamps that I got out of my other building, and you can see my tires
Right.
that go on the Z28. Those are the Cooper Cobras, skinnies, and then the fatties for the back. But and they're not tacky anymore. They're ready to go. Yeah, all I took was a piece of all thread and clamped it into these 2 clamps and slide tires on there and set it in the paint booth, spray it down, and
Print them in black resin. That's funny.
I do print them in black resin. Yeah. Yep. All of my stuff gets printed in black resin, but you still want to put something on it because that resin's going to decolorize over time if you don't have something protecting it.
Well, and a lot of people don't know this. The resin for 3D printers, if you don't put like paint over it, it'll erode after a while too.
Yeah. Yeah. And what Mopar said there about painting lettering on your tires is like TIG welding, and I agree with that if you're using a paintbrush. But this method here that I got from Bob Busing and Hobby Barn, just using a eraser on a pencil to just dab the letters. That's going to be so simple when I do it. Plus the lettering on these tires, they're raised lettering, so that makes it easier. You know, have less chance of getting it on the black. But if I do, that's fine. I'll be using water-based white for the lettering anyway. So if I get it on the part I don't want it, I can wash it off.
So Jeff, light is not the problem. It's moisture is the problem. Because light will actually cure the 3D part because it's UV, right? It's moisture does it. Even the PLA stuff. Moisture is the biggest enemy of 3D printing.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you look at your printer lid, it's got it almost reminds me of those driving sunglasses that you wear for driving. They're yellow lenses. Right. Well, that's the color that is the lid that goes on your 3D printer and your wash cure machine. And that's to keep the UV out while it's printing. But once it's out, you want it to be in the UV so that it cures and hardens.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about painting a little bit. What kind of paints are you using?
Most of the stuff I use, like on that Z28, that's all rattle can. I used Rust-Oleum gloss black and Rust-Oleum primer for that body. But I do have other paints like Createx, the Oblique, I think is how you pronounce it, colors. And then the AK-47 or AK-47, listen to the AK Super Chrome, even though there's an AK-47 picture on the box. But that's what I use. And then testers. I have used some Eastwood Company automotive paint where I'd reduce it with that Mr. Hobby paint layer or thinner, or whatever it's called.
So now Eastwood Paints is the same company that makes Createx, right? Or am I thinking of a different company?
No. Well, I don't know if they make the same one, but I don't know of them. I don't think they do Createx. Eastwood Company is a major automotive brand that sells a whole lot of automotive paints and products. And I have tons of that here because when I had Mill Creek Fab Shop channel, I was sponsored by Eastwood Company. And so if I'd call them and say, hey, I need this, that, and the other, 2 weeks later, it'd be in my shop. So I've got lots of that left over from being sponsored. And I thought, well, Brian over at his channel on Saturday night was telling me how he uses that paint thinner stuff, that paint layer, with regular enamels. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try it. And I was surprised. It came out nice. So you just got to mix it right. Otherwise, your gun's going to be clogged up tighter than Fort Knox.
So with the AK stuff, how you liking that acrylic stuff compared to some of the enamels and stuff that you've been working with?
I actually, spraying the AK is so simple and easy. For one, it's already mixed and ready to go right out of the bottle. You don't have to add anything to thin it. But two, the way it lays down is just so smooth.
Okay.
And that's, it was recommended to me by Fred Henry to, when I spray the AK Super Chrome, to spray it on thick, but not so thick it's going to run. So that's the way I've been doing it. And it's working out. Like, I know you saw those SS wheels there, that one I showed you. I sprayed that really thick, but you would never know that I did.
Right.
And it didn't hide any of the detail in that 3D printed part. You can still see the lug nuts just as good. You can still see the valve stem just as good. So it's really, I like it a lot. And then the only paints I really, I guess you gotta, it's an art to get used to, would be the Createx paints. For me, I had so much trouble right out of the box with that. But then again, I was new at airbrushing and mixing and all that. So anyway, I'm still going to keep messing with those because I got a bunch of it to use. So I want to use it up. But I do have a test kit that I use. It's that little dragster type Volkswagen, little short Volkswagen body. And that's my test dummy on all my paints and stuff. I need to strip it down back to the plastic because I got so many coats of paint on it from doing test.
I mean, that's why they made LA's awesome, right?
Huh?
I said that's why they made bleach or LA's awesome, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you spray thick, you must move fast. Oh, yeah.
He's not wrong on that. I mean, but it
Yeah.
depends on what you're also what you're painting too. But
It's just little parts. Let me show you this. I got a flat full of parts that I painted with the AK. Let me move these off of here because they're not taped down. See, that's not taped down either. So this is the parts that's going into the Z28, and you'll see when I show this to you what I mean by blue painter's tape being your best friend. It's stuck all over this board, and then all the parts are on top of it. But all of that is sprayed with AK Super Chrome. But let me show you this before you take the screen down. If I can get a hold of it here. So this is the headers for the big block going in the Z28, and they turned out gorgeous with that AK Super Chrome. I mean, they just look amazing. There's just something about that AK Super Chrome. Like, for example, I thought I could spray this transmission right here that I'm getting ready to show you with just some rattle can type metallic, and it would gray out to where it would look like a 350 turbo transmission, but it's too shiny, so I'll have to dull it down. But that sitting next to one of these pieces with AK Super Chrome, you can see the huge difference of how much better AK Super Chrome is compared to the rattle can metallic chrome. So, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I haven't tried some of the AK stuff. I've tried to color here and there, and it's really good paint. I'm really shocked.
Right. Hang on a minute. I need to turn the heat down in here. I'm burning up. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy how how all that stuff works. What up, Brian?
Okay, I'm back. Oh, Bride decided to join us.
Yep.
Did you get back from your gay pride march?
Now. So you were talking earlier that you were getting into airbrushing. How has that been going for you? And what are you using as an airbrush?
Well, I started out. It started out as a flop because I don't know what. I think it was part manufacturer and part user error because I had bought two really nice airbrushes. One was an Iwata, and it was the trigger dual action type, and both of them were. But I had problems with both of those guns right out of the box. The Iwata would never spray anything. No matter what you did to it, it would not spray paint at all. I got my money back for that one. And then the other one, I forget what it was called, but it was a nice one. It had the same trigger action type deal, which is a lot easier for me with my fingers the way they are using that. And but that one even would I could get a good spray every so often with it, but then it would just stop. So I got my money back from that one, and I went with one of those cheap $26 Harbor Freight Avanti ones. It's got the trigger on the top. It's a lot harder, but I'm still able to get some good painting. I mean, that shows right here on my SS Krager. But that right now is what I'm using. I think later on there's some other brands that have that trigger type deal, which would be so much easier for me to use than the other type that has the button on the top.
They have that. I've seen YouTube. I don't think it's been a company very long, but it's I'm gonna botch the name, but I think it's Julia, something like that.
Yeah. Then there's the Pache, but I know the other one you're talking about.
And they have a trigger gun. One of the people I hang out with on Friday nights did a video on his YouTube channel, I think with a regular one and then the trigger one. And
yeah. Gary from Ride the Wind sent me pictures of his airbrushes that he uses, and they're the name brand ones. And I didn't even know Iwata had this other model that has that trigger compared to the one that I originally had purchased. So whenever I do get back to that, which will probably be this winter sometime, I'll get some different airbrushes to go with. But right now I've just been using those cheap Avanti ones, and they spray great. They do a good job. So Grex, was it Grex you were talking about?
No, it's not Grex. Grex does make a trigger action, which is supposed to be really good, but yeah, it's not.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was reading what OG butt stuff just said.
Yeah, that was from Twitch.
Butt stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I know, Kevin. It's raining. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want my hair to get wet and frizzy.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to smoke on the show?
It's your health, not mine.
All right.
No, when we get off of here, I'll look it up. But yeah, they got an interesting, and I think it's only like $60. That's the other thing that I was thinking about getting one, because I was wanting to try one, but I don't want to spend $200 for a trigger.
Yeah.
airbrush. I mean,
Yeah. John at Mopar Nut, what is the name of that other gun that I purchased? You're the one recommended them. Anyway, they're probably good. I just ended up getting a bad one. Just like Iwata, I know is a good brush or a good company. I didn't buy it straight from Iwata. However, Iwata was super helpful in helping me troubleshoot that airbrush. And that's when they said even they couldn't even figure it out. They just said, man, you need to send that back and get your money. So that's what I did.
yeah,
Huh.
anyway, yeah, Jeff, he has actually tested one, and then S Scale Model Kit Review is the other one.
Yeah.
Touch-up gun might be better for Joey. Touch-up gun's kind of maybe too big.
Yeah, you're gonna have a huge fan for trying to do
You have one of those little boosts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that might be too big for that. I mean, if you got a well-ventilated area, I mean, might be able to make it work, but
yeah, I'm not gonna use a touch-up gun on modeling anyway, because one, the fan is too wide. So with that small booth, you ain't gonna be able to get a good swipe across that body without having tons of runs. So now I'll get it figured out on the airbrush thing.
Master is what?
Master, yeah, that's it. Master was the other one, the trigger action one that I ordered. And that one, as I was cleaning it, that little needle thing that goes on the end where the needle comes out, that threads into the tip, well, it broke. I was like, what the crap? I am not having good luck with airbrushes. So I sent those back, got my money, and then a few weeks later, was at Harbor Freight, and I picked one of these Avantis up. Bob Busing highly recommended them and showed me how he was using his. I thought, I'll give it a try. Worst case scenario, if it didn't work out, I can take it right back to the local Harbor Freight and get my $26. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how airbrushes, like certain ones are like bulletproof, and then other ones you got to figure out how to use.
Yeah.
It's
like the other day.
Learn.
Yeah, like the other day, I have two of those Avantis now, and I decided to do these SS Krager wheels. I'm going to go ahead and just get that other one out of the box and get it broke in and use it. Well, it wouldn't spray for crap. You know, you'd pull that trigger back and you'd hear the air, then it would just stop. I thought, now what? So I kept messing with it. I even called Bob Busing, and I was like, have you ever had this experience? And he said, no. And then I kept messing with it. Well, the little nozzle that screws up into the bottom where the trigger is, where you plug your hose in at, well, that was it wasn't screwed in all the way, and that was the problem. I tightened that up and sprayed all day long with it, doing the parts for this Z28. So
yeah, Kevin Smith says he uses an airbrush and a touch-up gun.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it was Kevin Smith that mentioned touch-up gun before, which I have a touch-up gun. I just know from my experience with a touch-up gun, they have a big fan on them, and there's really, I have not tried it. I guess to throw something in the paint booth and just try it and see how it turns out, but I just don't think it's going to work out for me with that small paint booth. Exactly like Devil Bliss. Yeah, see, you're throwing all those other names out there, John, and I have no idea who you're talking about or what you're talking about, but I'm glad you know. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but trying to think, what else do I use tool-wise? I mean, it's really not anything different from what everybody else uses. I just use it differently. I'm just looking around the shop here to just find different things. Plus, I got a huge area to work in. My workbench on this wall where I'm sitting now is as long as the whole building, and it's covered with model stuff everywhere. And then the back wall is another big long bench, and it's covered with paints and 3D printer and my foam board cutter. Um, yeah. So that foam board cutter was going to be essential for me because I don't have a real good steady hand. So trying to cut a piece of foam with a knife is just going to look all jagged and crooked. But with that foam board cutter, it's like a table saw, but it's got a hot wire. And man, I tell you, that thing works perfect when it comes to when you want to get a really nice piece of foam cut.
Is it battery powered or is it electric powered?
Electric.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's got a dial on it for you can adjust the heat on your wire. Like on my diorama garage wall, for one, the wall was made out of cardboard. Let me go get it and I'll explain it a little better. Hang on.
Yeah. You're carving the turkey next month. Yes, we will let him do that.
All right. So I started a diorama a month or so ago, and I'm itching to get back on it. But the cardboard is just a piece of cardboard that I cut out and then was able to wet one side of the cardboard and peel the paper off, and it gives you that corrugated look. But the door, yeah, the door is made from scratch with a piece of cardboard sideways, so it's got the corrugated looking door. But that big chunk at the top of the door is a piece of foam that the same foam board that I insulated my shop with, I used a piece of that foam and cut it out real good with that foam board cutter, and that's what I came up with on that roll up door.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, and then I put a Flowmaster, little tiny Flowmaster sticker at the top of it. But yeah, I got to get back to this so I can get these glued down to my the backing that this will be glued to, which will be a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. So you've changed your channel name.
Yeah.
And that, it seems like you're having a lot of success on the modeling side of it. Is that why you changed your name? Because it was for like cars and stuff before, right?
I did a lot of mixture of different things on the Mill Creek Fab Shop. I restored an old Dodge pickup truck. Worked on mowers, just different odds and end projects. I took a pop-up camper frame and converted it into a utility trailer on that channel. So I was messing with a lot of heavy metal and packing it around with one hand, holding it in place while I weld it. And that's a big job. And that was killing me. I had to get away from that. I still mess with that stuff, but not on the scale that I was at when I had that channel. And then I had sponsors on that channel. Eastwood Company was one of them. Who else was? I forget who all sponsored me. Oh, the stuff we use for our blue ponds to strip paint. What is it called?
Super Clean.
Super Clean was one of my sponsors. So I've got case after case after case of freaking Super Clean sitting out in the other shop where they were sending it to me every month, but I did them well. I sponsored their stuff well, and put it out there for them. But yeah, that channel was a great success, in that sense. Plus, I was part of a YouTube group build type thing. It was called Raise the Roof event down in Youngstown, Ohio, where we took a full-size school bus, chopped the top, and raised it 18 inches in one weekend. And it was my channel along with like 5 other channels. We all got together. These are guys that I knew from YouTube but had never met. And we all met up in Youngstown, and one weekend we fabricated, cut, sewed, sutured, welded, whatever, and put that bus back together all in one weekend. And that was hosted by a guy by the name of Lewis Lee. He has a show called Playing in Traffic. And he's also the manager for Lou Ortiz, I think is his name. One of those TV show car guys.
Oh, okay.
But at that event, we got to meet Stacy David from Gears. I mean, that's how big Lewis is. But that was his bus. He's getting ready to retire from driving a city bus and is going to be traveling to all the major car events like SEMA, down in Indiana. And he's going to do it in a school bus. And so he wanted to he wanted the roof raised because he's tall like Lurch. And he didn't want to have to bend over every time he walked through that bus. And so he bought the bus. We raised the roof so he could walk through it. And then he's been decking it out and building it out on the inside. But that's going to be him and his wife's travel bus / home that they'll live in as they're traveling. And I think it's really neat. But, you know, with that Mill Creek Fab Shop, I got to be a part of that. And it was a lot of fun. It was great meeting everybody that I had been talking to forever through YouTube and even on the phone, but had never met. So I finally got to meet them. And that, too, I think is part of the success I'm having, too, with the Joey's Hobby Shop is most of those guys like modeling as well, but they don't have time to do scale modeling, because they have full-blown body shops. So They're constantly in there working, but they love it that I'm over here doing it. And some of you guys have subscribed to some of them because they'll pop into my lives and say hello or flip me off or something. And but that was when I had Mill Creek Fab Shop. That was when I first met Big Charlie's Model Garage and Cliff by going Arco at Outlaw Edge channel. That told me about a scale modeling channel, which was Cliff's channel. Sent me the link while he was live, and I went there, and me and Arco kind of took over the chat. And then after that, me and Cliff had always just stayed friends. And then as well as Big Charlie. So actually, when I had Mill Creek Fab Shop, I got my first shop card from Big Charlie when I had Mill Creek Fab Shop. I just forgot I had it. And I was going through a box and I found the shop card. I was like, oh crap, he just sent me like 10 other ones and I've already got one. But that's all right. Those things are good for patching holes in walls. So thank you, Big Charlie. I appreciate it.
So we've been on here about an hour. Is there anything else you want to bring up for the hobby? For your side of it?
I don't know. I inspirational wise, you can do anything you set your mind to. You know, there's nothing you can't do. And the more creative your mind is, the more creative the project's going to look. And you're going to love this project that I'm working on. That is a secret project for a secret friend in the community. But I have to be nice to her because she's mentally challenged, and she doesn't realize she has Tourette's yet. But she'll know when she gets this gift in the mail. Hey Lee, good to see you. I just saw you in the chat. But yeah, just be creative, man. Think outside the box. Most of the things you are probably looking for before you run to the hobby store and buy it, look through your junk drawers, look through your storage buildings, your shops. You'll probably find it. Like for example, where's it at? The other day, I was looking for something to use for my for this Z28 to go, because where I'm using 3D printed wheels, I didn't have backings to go on the wheels for like a hub, to attach it to the suspension.
Right.
Well, I had a stack of these because every year we have a 4th of July weekend party here on the property, and I always buy these little flags, and I've got a ton of them. Well, this rod is perfect for making the little studs that have to stick out from the suspension that you attach your wheel to, and you just cut them down. You just cut them down to size and glue it to the back of your wheel, and then you can just shove it right in the hole on the suspension. Easy peasy. So I didn't have to run anywhere to buy that. I just thought outside the box and thought, I got to have something here. I got all kinds of crap. And I saw that. I thought, So I got my micrometer, my little measuring tool, and thought, well, it's close. If worst case, I have to sand it down a little, but I didn't have to sand it all. Just cut it to length.
Awesome.
And, cut it to length, glue it in there, and it was ready to go.
Well, and I mean, really, it's a good tip because, like, if you do like dioramas and stuff, there's all kinds of stuff around your house for that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. And one of the other things too, you think about if you're building a diorama, we do a lot of shop card trades between the channels, and some of the channels will send you little tiny stickers. Those stickers are perfect to put on your wall inside your diorama garage, and just stick them to a piece of like cardboard paper or something like that, to have where it would have a stiff backing, and then glue it to the wall, and it makes a nice decoration piece.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Just a tip, huh?
I said you're not wrong on that. That some of those stickers are pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I got so many of them, doubles and triples of the exact same one. So whenever I'm sending out a shop card, I go ahead and if I've got 2 or 3 of the same sticker from another channel, I'll throw it in the envelope with my shop card. However, I did send somebody a shop card and I didn't have an extra sticker to send to them, so I just grabbed a Band-Aid and threw it in the envelope. They got back to me and were like, what was the Band-Aid for? I said, just in case. I felt bad. I didn't have a sticker, and Band-Aids are sticky if you peel the thing. And I thought, well, that's a sticker. You just stick it over your finger or a cut spot. Yeah.
And that's how we know it's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Marcy said, unless the stickers are massive like hers, which hers I've put on the wall over there, the wall of shame with everybody else's, and I put her at the top. So she's kind of like the shop card overlooker. She gets to look down on all the other little shop cards on the wall of shame. So it's pretty neat.
Okay.
Plus, she's my YouTube wife, so I thought she would be mad at me if I put her in the middle or down at the bottom, and be thinking and yell at me and say, you just don't think I'm that important. You don't appreciate me. So I didn't want to go through that with Marcy because she's tough. Thank you, Senior. Huh?
Never mind. See, now you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
You're going to get in trouble.
Oh, she's tough as nails. Marcy is. She don't beat around the bush. If you're being stupid, she lets you know. Thankfully, I have not been stupid at all around her because she's never had to let me know. Yeah. I'm just very smart and intelligent to her, and very good looking and sweet and pretty and nice and handsome. And she says you're faster than lightning, that's just the compliments I get from Marcy. I guess that would have to be a different interview, right?
Right. That's
A
I
counseling
there's
one.
actually like reality shows that you could probably sign your two up for that you
Yeah.
could make better money at. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I'm getting paid for this?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's like, oh, now it's getting gross. All right. So, how long do you usually go with these shows? About an hour or so?
A little over an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
So the last part, and we can actually start heading that way, is you get to ask me any questions you want.
Well, obviously, you are in Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and you are 3 hours behind me in time wise.
Yep.
Should I let you know since I'm in the future when Oregon loses?
Oh,
This
you'll
way,
know.
this way you don't waste your time watching, or
You'll actually the game starts in about 20 minutes. So
so you got to hurry and go.
right. But no, Oregon and Washington, I think one's ranked 7th and the other one's ranked 8th.
Right.
So it's going to be a really good game, I think.
Yeah. I do want to share this quick tip. Like if you got bare plastic that's never been painted and you got two pieces you want to get stuck together and you don't want them to come back apart. I use, and this does not cause the plastic to turn white or anything, but it's the Gorilla Super Glue Gel. And I use these little dentist type brushes and dip it down into my gel and just put a little bit on the plastic pieces, stick them together, and works out good.
So I use something completely different. I use contact cement.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, it'd take an act of God to get that stuff apart.
Do you have it sitting there handy so you can show it to me?
I should. Oh, maybe I don't know. I moved everything around in here again, so Nope, I don't have it.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
But it's one of those things I've bought at Walmart. So, and it's in the glue section.
Right. I'll have to look for it. But no, on a serious note, a question. How long have you been in modeling?
I've been back into modeling for 9 years.
9 years? Okay. That's cool.
I did it when I was a teenager. So
All right. Okay. Same with me. I started out I remember the first model kit I ever saw, and my brother Lee had it, and it was a dune buggy style type Volkswagen Bug, and he had it painted purple and black and yellows, and it was really a cool looking kit, and it was a bigger styled one. It wasn't like what we mostly work on, 124th, 125th. I'm guessing probably a 1/16th is what it was, and this was in the 70s, but he'd built a shelf, put it way up high so that no one could get a hold of it and try to play with it like me. But it was fun looking at it. But I remember that was my first model kit I ever saw. And then my cousin Claude had tons of old model kits, and they're still there at the house on the property in Kentucky, that he always would play with late at night while he was getting high and smoking his cigarettes. But we'd sit in there and he'd sit and play with those models, and painting on them and everything. But like, what's his name? That Jonathan model car guy. He'd been showing off a lot of model kits that belonged to his dad and his grandfather. That they would put the whole car together and then they'd spray paint it. So everything was painted, even the tires. And if you look through my cousin Claude's boxes of models, that you'd probably find some like that. But that's just how people did it back then. Then they'd go through with other paints like the tires. They'd use black and paint those. I would not even want to try to strip the paint off of those cars because it's been on there so long, it would probably never come off. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can only imagine trying to get paint off from that long ago. Yeah. You'd almost have to like pressure wash it off.
Yeah, and then and with that, you're probably going to destroy the plastic with pressure washing, or at least probably deform it in some way or whatnot. But all right, well, man, I appreciate you having me on here. I really do. This has been fun, and maybe the future people you have on here can learn from this one to be cool like me. You never know.
Yeah, you never know, man.
Like Kevin Smith or Jeff, they can brush up and practice on how to be like Joey before they get on the show. Yeah.
Everybody has their episodes unique, just like them. Everybody's got a special little talent that you just got to pull out of everybody.
Right. I'm not speechless, Jeff. I'm just trying to give Joshua the opportunity to get out of here so he can watch his game. Okay. So I'm being quiet. However, speaking of speechless, when my grandfather found out he was going to lose his voice, he was speechless. So KRD says he wants to be like Joey. Yeah. See? I think his name is Jason.
Okay.
KRD. I think his name is Jason. Is that your right? Is that your name, Jason, or is it Jeremy or Josh or I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad you got to be here. But I want to thank everybody in the chat for picking on me, and I enjoy it, even though I didn't get to see most of it. I am going to play this back and then probably send you guys a bomb after I'm done watching it. But, I will make sure it's a silent watch ticking inside the box. Yeah.
All right, Joey. I'm gonna bring you off, and then I'll talk to you in a couple minutes. Okay.
All right. You want me to stay on here though?
Yep. You can stay for a couple minutes.
All right, man. Thank you again. Later, everybody.
All right, everybody. So here's the thing. Next week's episode has been canceled. There's a modeling show in my area, and I'm going to it. So there will be an episode, not next weekend, the weekend after. And we're going to be having a conversation about Way of the Dragon. It's going to be 4 people. It's going to be a group one. So it should be fairly entertaining. And I will see you guys then. Bye.